Shavua Tov and Shalom Israel briefers from all around the world. Welcome to the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, where we take a look at those top stories that make the headlines in Israel. We do it every Monday to Thursday, and we do it because the mainstream media won't tell you Israel's side of the story. So this is your one-stop shop for all things happening in the Israeli media. And as always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. Now, before we get into the headlines, a little bit of housekeeping. Next week and the week after, I will be down under. Yes, I'm headed to Australia on a WITSO mission to my Australian Federation there. So I will still be bringing you the Israel Brief. It will be probably at higgledy-piggledy times because of the time difference. But guys, my commitment to you is my commitment to you. The only time there won't be Israel Briefs is when I'm busy traveling. So let's take a look at those headlines. It is day 577 since the 7th of October. 59 hostages still remain in captivity. The urgency to get them all home now is more and more crucial every second of the day. Now, earlier today, Israel gave Hamas an ultimatum: release our hostages, or else we are going in with a much wider military campaign. So we will be watching developments on this very, very closely. Meanwhile, yesterday morning at around about, I'd say just after 9 a.m. Israel time, a ballistic missile fired by the Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen towards Israel impacted in the vicinity of Ben Gurion Airport. Now, it's very important to note that the airport building itself wasn't hit, but the missile did impact in the grounds of the airport. Now, I live about 10 minutes away from Ben Gurion Airport. I was at the gym at the time, got the early warning system to get to shelter, and let me tell you something, we heard a bang as that missile impacted, that the whole building shook. This is very real, and this is something that is not reported in your media. For now, nearly 19 months, we have lived with war every second of every single day, and it has a massive impact on us Israelis as well as the Palestinians. Now, according to Magen David Adom ambulance services, at least 8 people were injured. Thank goodness nobody was killed. And departures and arrivals were halted for about an hour and then resumed business as always. Now, why wasn't it intercepted? It is believed that the Israeli Arrow system and the US THAAD system, as well as the Saudi systems, which normally intercept these missiles as they are fired over our territories, did not function, and the Israeli Air Force is busy investigating why they did not intercept the rockets. Meanwhile, Israel's Defense Minister, Israel Katz, has vowed to hit back 7 times over. Now, Israel has basically laid off the Houthis in Yemen at the request of the United States. The United States, now joined by the United Kingdom, have their bombing operation against the Houthis, who have been firing on Israeli cities, but also disrupting shipping lines in the Red Sea. They've asked Israel not to get involved, but I think this is a major escalation. This is a game changer. Meanwhile, many airlines have suspended their traffic to Israel. Some will be renewing or resuming tomorrow, and others have not mentioned yet. So if you are planning on traveling to and from Israel, please check with your airlines to see what the status quo is. Meanwhile, Israel's cabinet met last night to discuss their response to the Houthis. Israel has continued to assist Syrian Druze who are being basically slaughtered by the new regime in Syria. Yesterday, 5 wounded Syrians were evacuated from the Druze area of Syria to Ziv Hospital in northern Israel. Now they join other Syrian Druze who have been evacuated in recent days for medical purposes. Meanwhile, Israeli Air Force bases, the Israeli Air Force bombed new air defense systems very, very close to Damascus as a warning to al-Shara not to harm the Druze community. And earlier today, the IDF announced that the central headquarters of the former Syrian regime on Mount Hermon were located and destroyed. Now, Israel has sent a warning to the Syrian regime not to harm Syrian Druze and Christians in any way. Meanwhile, Israel continues to provide humanitarian aid to these communities, including medicines and baby supplies that were airdropped earlier today. The October Family Council have responded to the government's decision not to establish a state investigation into the 7th of October. They say that they will, the government say that they will put forward legislation to establish their own an independent investigation. Meanwhile, the Families Commission said they will not allow you to engineer and establish a convenient investigation commission. In other words, we won't allow you to establish some sort of a commission that will bury any of the evidence that implicates some of the decisions that you made that led to the 7th of October. Meanwhile, Israel's opposition leader, the government's opposition leader, have slammed this decision by the government not to allow for a state inquiry, saying that the truth will come out. And just as a citizen of Israel, I think that it is an imperative of the government to allow for the state comptroller to investigate. We are a democracy and we, the people, demand answers. And finally, a whole nation stands behind you, Yuval. Israel's Eurovision hopeful Yuval Raphael departed for Basel, Switzerland, where the Eurovision competition will be held a little later this week. Now, she met with President Herzog and the First Lady, Mrs. Herzog, before she left for Basel. And she will be singing the song A New Day Will Rise. If you can vote in Eurovision wherever you are around the world, please vote for our Yuval. She follows in the footsteps of Eden Golan, who faced an absolute torrent of anti-Semitism. But we are all prepared for the venom and the disgrace that are some of the supporters. We show up with dignity and pride in who we are. Now, Yuval is a survivor of the Nova Festival massacre, and I really urge you all to check out her story. If you just Google Yuval, Y-U-V-A-L, Raphael, if you Google her story, a Nova survivor, it's absolutely harrowing, and we wish her every success. Now let's get to our audience question, and it comes from Sharon in Israel, who says, why are the Houthis still firing ballistic missiles at us if the Americans and the British are bombing them? Well, according to one analyst, and it really makes sense, that the Houthis are firing at us because the Americans and the British now have intelligence on the ground in Yemen and are starting to bomb those missile launch sites as well as those storage facilities. So the Houthis are trying to offload as many missiles towards Israel as possible before these sites are bombed. Now we see a similar tactic with Hamas as well, when we do embark on military campaigns, especially following major bombardments of rockets. They tend to try and fire them off, or just as we approach a ceasefire, they try and fire as many off as possible. So very similar tactic. And what a coincidence, they're both sponsored by Iran. So those are our top stories. Guys, don't forget, if you have a question, please pop it in the comment section below or send it to me via our website. And don't forget, On Thursday, I announce the Mensch and the Moron of the Week, so get those nominees through to me. And in the meantime, please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. We are on Facebook/Meta at Lotlsite at LOTLSITE. On YouTube, right here at the Israel Brief. Help us grow our community by watching here and clicking that red subscribe button. And we are on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, and on X at Lay of the Land 5. I always forget that one. Guys, God bless you all. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.